Are you looking to leverage the latest and best ideas to grow your advisory business from the best minds in the industry? Join us every Wednesday at noon Pacific for our speaker series, featuring dynamic guests sharing real strategies for real results. Brought to you by The Best Notary, where we help estate planning attorneys grow their business with less stress and more success.
Hey everyone, I'd love to introduce Jen Duncan. Jen Duncan is the founder of Moxie Content Studio, boutique messaging and copywriting consultancy that works exclusively with established professional service firms, especially in law, finance, real estate, and consulting. With over a decade of experience in brand strategy, copywriting, and client communications, Jen helps attorneys and law firms clarify their message so they can position their practice with authority, attract higher quality clients, and scale with confidence. Her work has supported solo practitioners, mid-sized firms, and industry-recognized legal consultants in redefining their brand voice, website content, and thought leadership, often leading to stronger engagement, faster conversions, and better alignment across their teams. Jen's methodology combines strategy, storytelling, and sales psychology to create messaging systems that express not only what you do, but why it matters to your clients. Jen actually was introduced to us by Sarah Allen, who spoke, I think, in our third or fourth speaker series. And Jen helped us to create beautiful scripts that we use to shoot 3 videos that right now are really helping us communicate to our clients what we do, potential clients, and also to existing clients on exactly how our processes work, especially when it comes to remote online notarization. So I can speak personally about Jen's expertise and how easy she made it for us to sound great on those videos. So Jen, without further ado, welcome to our TBN Advisor Speaker Series, and let's jump into it.
Great. Thank you, Eli. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me. And like Stephanie and Eli said, I am totally happy to take questions whenever they pop up, as well as do a Q&A at the end. So if I talk about something that a question pops into mind, please feel free to raise your hand and ask. And let me go ahead and share my slides. The presentation today will be all about how the right words win business. And it goes deeper than the words themselves. Each lawyer, each law firm, each business has a message to tell, has a story to tell, you have your own perspective. And drawing out those messages, those stories, and those perspectives are really what can help you connect with people that you are best suited to help and that you most want to work with. The words and the messages that you use go beyond marketing. I mean, obviously, it's really important in marketing because marketing is how people find out about you. It's how they start the connection with you and they start to realize that you're who they need. But it also carries over into the sales process, into service, and even into post-matter communications. So let's go ahead and dig in. First, I'd like to, just let you know a little bit more about myself. My name is Jen Duncan, and for the past few years, I've worked as a marketing coach for law firms. A lot of the firms that I worked with were estate planning and family law, although I worked with several other practice types as well. And one thing that I found with almost everybody is that when I would start to work with them, the first thing we would do is to draw out their story and their message. And I would ask them some questions to dig into that, and almost everyone would just sort of look at me with a blank look and say, wow, I've never been asked that question. I've never thought of that. It would be things like digging deeper into your why, digging deeper into who you are, who you serve, why you do what you do, beyond the elevator pitch and beyond, like the tagline on your website. I would ask questions designed to really figure out who they wanted to work with and to serve and who they didn't, because that is part of messaging, is both drawing in the people that you want to work with and gently repelling the people that are not the best fit for you, because honestly, that saves them time and it saves you time. But messaging goes a lot deeper than that. It builds the connection between you and your prospects, you and your clients. And in order to do that, there is some work that we need to do. Something that I've noticed is that a lot of marketing agencies and marketing consultants that work with lawyers sort of productize everything they do. And everybody just sort of goes with the same templates, the same very formal legalese, and it doesn't really allow you to stand out. So that's why I started my firm, was to be able to work one-on-one with small to medium law firms and to help you do that. Now, your messaging, like I said, is the foundation of everything you do. But a lot of firms build their marketing off of their visual branding, but without digging into their messaging. And because of that, your messaging might be costing you leads before they even call. Because if you don't have the right messaging in place, if you don't have the messaging and copy that allows you to connect with the people who need you most, they may just pass you by. They might see your social media, they might see your website, they might see your Google ads. But if something in there doesn't connect with where they are right now and what they need, they're likely to just click off. And that's really a shame, because you might be exactly the person that they need. They might be exactly the client that you're looking for, but without something to connect them and to really draw them in and get them to dig deeper into who you are, what you do, and what you can do for them, they may never even call. And that is actually something that, unfortunately, it's very common. It's actually one of the things that I've found to be most common with small to medium law firms. And that's what I'd like to help you fix today. Okay, this one, I know this slide might hurt a bit to look at just with the blurry letters, but it's meant to teach a very basic but important lesson. If you confuse, you lose. If you confuse your readers, confuse your website visitors, confuse your social media audience, you're going to lose them. A lot of messaging is kind of like the messaging on the left. These actually say exactly the same thing. But if you don't have something that's designed to tell them immediately who you are, what you do, and what you can do for them, it's blurry to them. If you think about when you go on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or pretty much any platform, there is so much content. And a lot of it is saying basically the same thing. If you put 5 estate firms, compare them side by side, unfortunately, a lot of them say the same thing. And that's very easy to do because, I mean, there is not a lot of difference between, a will is a will is a will. A trust is a trust. How you draft it may be very different, but your prospects are not going to understand that if you blend in. When you have very clear messaging, When you have messaging that doesn't look like everything else that they're seeing, it connects, it draws them in, it shows them that they can dig deeper and that they're actually going to find what they're looking for. Something else that I found is that a lot of law firms, unfortunately, can be a little afraid to stand out because they've, like I said, all of the marketing agencies that are geared toward lawyers all sort of tell you the same thing. But when you look like everyone else, they're not going to take notice. When you have clear messaging, messaging that shows who you are, what you do, why you do it, and who you serve, they can immediately connect. So unclear messaging can cost you leads. That's kind of one of the biggest things up front that it can cost you, but it can also cost you trust. In law, trust and security are really what you're selling. Yes, you're selling legal services, you're selling your expertise, but your clients, most of them probably don't have a background in law. They don't understand all of the details that you handle. And if you try to explain them, they're going to kind of look at you with a blank stare, you know, after a few minutes, because that's just not their expertise. When they come to you, they're looking for security. They're looking for somebody that they can trust to handle their problems. And that is honestly what your messaging can help build. Unclear messaging also costs you time. Show of hands in the chat. How many of you have had to explain the same thing over and over to a prospect or a client, or to multiple prospects or clients? Or how many of you have had to clean up legal messes because your clients didn't know to give you certain information, or they thought that it would be cheaper to just not tell you when a change would need to be made because they didn't want to pay the legal fees? That costs them time. It costs you time. It costs everybody money. You know, them in legal fees, you in payroll. And honestly, though, it also costs you time in your sales process. When people come to you without really understanding what you do, it is a lot harder to convert them than when they come with a lot of their questions already answered, already with a basic understanding of what you do and how you do it, and with knowing some of the questions to ask. These are all things that your messaging can provide them, that strong messaging can provide them. But unclear messaging can also cost you team alignment. As your team grows, team alignment is one of the hardest things that there is to build. If your team has a strong understanding of not just who you are as a lawyer, but who your firm is as a firm, if they can quickly explain to somebody, you know, answering their questions or explaining processes or things like that, those are all based on your messaging. And this is something that we often don't think about when it comes to developing branding and messaging, is your team culture and alignment. However, strategic messaging can allow you to build authority faster, which can shorten the marketing timeline. Sales often happens in days, weeks, maybe months. Marketing can happen in weeks, months, quarters, even years. It is kind of it's the process of finding the people who need you and building the security that they need to reach out to you. When your messaging is clear, that authority, that security, and the process that they need to take becomes so much more clear, and it can actually bring down your marketing timeline to where people are calling you in days to weeks rather than months to quarters. It also can attract and connect with your ideal clients who are ready to act. Like I said before, messaging and marketing, strong messaging and marketing is designed to both attract the clients that you want to work with, but also quietly repel those that you don't. And by repel, I don't mean, flat out saying, if you fit this, we don't want you. That's not a good look for any firm. But, say if you would rather handle clients that don't bring a lot of drama, your messaging can be very calm, very security-based, and strategically kind of weed out the people who are likely to bring a lot of drama. They just won't be attracted to it, so they won't call. But the people who you really want to work with, they'll start to build a rapport, and when they need your services, they'll call. Strong messaging can also give your team the tools that they need to grow consistently. When you have a strong team culture and when they know kind of how the firm works, how to work with clients, the message that they need to put forward, that will give them the confidence that they need to do their job well and to grow consistently. It also, like I said, saves you time, allowing you to scale your firm without sacrificing everything else. I know I'm not the only one who has tried to scale by just putting in more hours. As lawyers, especially, at the beginning of your career, you probably had to put in a ton of them. That's, kind of, that happens when you're learning. That shouldn't be what's needed in order to scale. You shouldn't have to give up your weekends, your time with your family, your travel, holidays, things like that in order to scale. By having strong messaging in place, it allows you to streamline so many other things so that you can grow your firm how you want to grow it and still have a life. Now, messaging isn't something that we hear a lot about because it is honestly kind of challenging to build. It's not something that you can just, plug into ChatGPT and say, give me some messaging or give me, content that fits me. Who here has ever tried to, get ChatGPT to give you content and it turns out absolute sludge? Like, it's generic, it's filled with emojis, and not a lot else. Your strong messaging helps to steer you away from that so that you can put out content that you don't have to be putting out content all the time. You can put out strategic content throughout the month, throughout the quarter, throughout the year that that helps you grow, that cuts through the online noise and helps you say what you want to say without having to just, produce more and more and more of it. I like to think of it as, on the slide, a silent multiplier. Instead of having to just produce more and more and more of the same thing, because it's clear, because it's strong, and because it connects, you don't need a ton of it. You just need the right content. Same with sales. You don't need to follow up. When your messaging is clear and people come ready to act, you don't need to follow up with them for weeks or months. They're just ready to act. They're ready to hire you. And that saves your team time. It increases your revenues. It cuts down on collections. It seems like a simple thing, but it can make everything else so much smoother. Another thing about strategic messaging is it helps your referral partners refer better clients to you. I know one complaint that I often hear from lawyers when they're trying to build out referral systems is that the referrals that they get, so many of them are not qualified. When your referral partners refer to you, it means that they trust you, that they know that you're going to help their client or their prospect, and so they're turning them over to you. That's a sign of trust. But if your referral partners aren't terribly clear on what you do and who you want to work with, but also what you don't do and which clients you don't want to work with or you can't serve, they're likely to send kind of anyone and everyone. Strategic messaging makes it a lot easier for them to send you the right clients so that it's kind of a win-win for everyone. And just like you don't necessarily need more content and more and more and more all the time, you don't necessarily need more leads. I mean, you might, but a lot of the time, what firms need are stronger leads, more qualified leads. Marketing and sales has been thought of for decades as a numbers game. If you need more leads and you currently have, say, a 20 or 30% conversion rate, well, just bring in like 100 more leads and we'll get 20 or 30 more clients. Messaging, strong messaging, allows you to only have to bring in maybe 30 to 40 more leads in order to get 20 to 30 new clients, or 10 more leads to get 7 new clients, because you're bringing the right people in at the right time. You're connecting with them at their point of need. If you find that you're getting a lot of unqualified leads, your message, it's probably not like the amount of content you're producing, it's probably your messaging. You're just not attracting the right people. This is what messaging can help you do. And it streamlines things for everyone. The next thing that we want to make sure of is that your messaging works across the board. It's not just your website or just your LinkedIn or Facebook or just your emails. A messaging guide or a strong message, understanding your message, can help you to streamline your content across any platform that you might use. Your website, videos, emails, email sequences, newsletters. From the moment they first hear of your firm through to the intake process, the reminders, nurture sequences, your social media, even the FAQs on your website, any lead magnets that you might have. Your messaging works across all of those. And then it carries into all of the other processes: sales, intake, client service, and post-matter follow-up, client happiness, everything like that. Okay, who's up for some hands-on practice? And I'm going to leave this up for a moment while I explain it, but then I'm going to stop sharing for a moment so that we can see each other and ask and answer some questions. So I want you to go ahead and pull up your website, either on your phone or your laptop or tablet, whatever you might have. And we're just going to do a 5-second test, because you probably see your website all the time. But somebody who doesn't know your firm and somebody who doesn't have any legal background, I want you to answer 3 questions. Within 5 seconds of pulling up your website, can you answer, what do you do? Who do you do it for? Who are your clients? And what should they do next? And I'm going to stop sharing. So, and feel free to even either post in the chat or come off mute and, share your thoughts or ask any questions. When you pull up your website, within 5 seconds, can you tell what you do, who you do it for? If somebody lands on your site, can they tell if they are your ideal client? And what is their next step that you want them to take?
Can I go?
Sure.
So when I quit a law firm, when I look at the first thing on our website, trust attorneys, you can now easily serve 10x more clients statewide. And your client's convenience is our goal, remotely or in person. Scale your business by outsourcing your signings and related admin functions. Lease our back office and scale with ease. There's a button to get in touch. So I think we hit all three things in one shot.
Awesome. Yep. You serve estate planning lawyers. You help them outsource and streamline their signings, their admin procedures, lots of different things. And what's your next step? Get in touch. Excellent. So
that came from the Story Brand book. I read that book and it was a huge for me, just like rude awakening that it's not about us. It's about the client and what they need. They're the hero. We're just a guide.
Exactly. And Eli, you bring up a great point. If your website is all about you, it's probably not going to do what you want it to do, unless you are going to hire yourself for how many ever estate plans you would like per month, which is going to get very expensive. Your website needs to be about your prospective client. It needs to take their problems, their worries, their needs, and place them front and center to show them, not in a twist the knife sort of way that used to be really popular. Especially pre-COVID, it was very popular. You would hear all about pain points and twisting the knife. I think we've all had enough pain points the last 5 years to last us a very, very long time. We don't need it anymore. People already know what their pain points are. They don't want you to make them worse. They want to know that you see their pain points and that you can solve them. So you do want to have what their problem is, just not in a pain-inflicting way. But they want to know if they're on the right site. If they can't tell that in the first 5 seconds, they're probably going to click off. Does anybody else want to share?
Being shy, I think we have Julie, a fellow provisor. Julie, do you want to jump in?
I can, yeah. I was hesitant only because I'm not a lawyer, but I'm happy to share.
No, it's all good. You're a consultant and a trusted advisor.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So I am not super excited about my website. I am a franchise owner, so a little bit limited, but can you see it?
Yeah. Okay,
cool. Actually, let me go back to mine. Sorry, I clicked off of it in an effort to learn a little bit more. So this is my website. So I think I got 1 out of 3 because it's listed here what I do, but if you scroll down, it doesn't really tell you a lot. You have to actually click here to find out more. And I feel like what we do should be on the front page.
Mm-hmm.
So I might put in a ticket to see if I can get that changed just based on your input. I think it's important.
That would be great, because unless I know exactly what a cost reduction consultant is and what you can do for me. So basically, if I'm there's 4 steps in awareness. For clients, there's completely unaware. They have no idea they even have a problem, and you're going to have to lead them through the entire process to get them to call.
That's probably my business. Yeah.
Yep. And then there is problem aware, they know that they have a problem, but they have no idea what the solution is. So you can kind of connect with, are you facing this? I can help. The next is solution aware. They know they have a problem. They know that they need a solution, and they basically understand what the solution is. And so they know what to put into Google to find you. And then the last one is problem and solution aware. Is basically they know they have a problem, they know there is a solution, and they know that you are the solution. And so they put your specific information in to find you to get your contact info. For cost reduction, you're probably dealing with people who are either completely unaware or problem aware. You know, they know that they like their costs are through the roof, but they have no idea what to do with them.
Excuse me, yeah.
And so, yes, I would see if you can have that as your front page.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to put a ticket in right now.
Nice.
Good feedback. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anybody else? And
I have a question sort of related, Jen.
Sure.
So you have 5 seconds and you have a lot of information to convey that might be complicated. How do we do that? I think I'm always trying to go for the fewest words possible in the clearest way.
Yes.
Which is a hard balance, right? But like, I want you to understand all that we do, and I don't want it to be a long paragraph. So I'm just curious, how do you approach that?
Personally, I do a ton of research into, like, when I work with somebody to do their copy and their messaging, first, like, I'll have about an hour-long conversation with you and pepper you with questions to get everything in your words. But then I look into what's called voice of client, which is I'll research your clients and your prospective clients and see what words they're using to describe their problems or their frustrations or whatever it might be. And then I help you come up with a tagline, like a headline that states it very succinctly, and a quick, like, 2-line description underneath and a call to action button, like 2 to 4 lines total. Something that they can look at and go, yes, that's me. Thank you. I've been looking for you. And then the rest of the site is to explain all the details and answer their question. And so it's kind of like when your child comes to you asking a question, and you first want to just answer it as quickly as you can. And if they're happy with that, cool. They'll, go on to their next thing. Clients are kind of like that, prospects. And not to say that they're childlike, but they want to know right away that they're in the right place. And the hero section, or the first about 10% of your homepage, is designed to answer that. So great question, Stephanie.
We have a question in chat from May, and she's asking, what should be the first thing they need to see in the website if we're an estate planning attorney?
Well, first they should know that you actually do estate planning, because you wouldn't believe how many law firms it will say, like, something totally off the top of my head, Smith and Associates, excellence, integrity, results. Great, but what do you do? Whereas, Smith and Associates estate planning. We help California families protect their legacy with proactive estate planning. And then the CTA is book a free consult today. And that, again, is totally, it's generic. It's totally off the top of my head. But you can kind of see the difference of, can they tell right away what you do? Are they the people that you help? And what's their next step? And that is what will get them, like, your action takers will actually just click to book a consult. Action takers are like a marketer's favorite people because all they need to know is, are they in the right place? Good. Click, booked, done. The people who need more information, the people who need maybe an emotional connection, they need to know your why. Or the people who need to know that you have a process in place, even if they don't understand it all. Those are your very, just kind of, they need the security to know that if they trust you with this, you're going to carry it through. And then you have your information people that they need to know every detail about what you do and why, and how could it affect them in these 32 situations. That's what the rest of your site is for. But for all 4 of those personality types, understanding that they're in the right place is what will get them to do whatever it is they need to do in order to book with you, in order to book a consult and talk about working with you. Does that answer your question, May? Let's see. If it doesn't, let me know, and I'm happy to dig into it further.
It looks like she gave you a heart. Yes.
She said yes
you.
in chat. Thank you. She may not be able to talk right now, but it seems like.
Yeah, no problem.
So I'm curious, does it help to have a very clear niche so that you're very specific and clear on who you're trying to work with?
It doesn't have to be like, you don't have to micro niche, but it is one thing that I always ask during, a messaging call is, if you could have a roster full of the clients that you love to work with, they get you up in the morning and you're just excited, who would they be? And it doesn't have to, I mean, some people are like, they pay on time. Okay, cool. That is easy enough to, and some people are a lot more detailed in, like just who their favorite clients are. But then I'll also ask, who are the people that if they never called you again, you would be very happy? And it's usually the complete opposite of, who they love to work with. Like either people who bring drama or who second guess you at every turn, or who want to micromanage the whole thing and then pay late. Or just decide to change things up every 30 days. So you have to go back to the drawing board and completely rework whatever it is you're doing. These are all people that can be, quietly repelled through your messaging. So, okay, let me go back to the slides. And there we go. Okay, I included this not to like give myself a pat on the back, but to show you the actual real life results of what strong messaging can do for, for firms, for small businesses. This is across the board. Like I work with professional services, not just with law firms, but these are things that getting really drilled down on the messaging has helped some of my clients with. A family-owned law firm that they've been around since late 70s. This was in the Midwest, in like outside of Chicago. They were very well trusted and well known because the original owner of the firm had been very, very, like strong in the community. But things had just kind of gone really downhill. By drilling down into their messaging and applying it across their marketing, their intake and sales, their services, and their follow-up, they saw a 60% increase in leads in under 6 months. It was about 3.5, 4 months, I believe. They saw increased sales conversion. They went from a 12% to a 30% and were still, within about 4 or 5 months. And throughout the 1.5 years that I worked with them, they doubled that again. They found a lot more people were happy with their services because all of their team, just because they had been in the same place for so long, they'd grown really complacent in, some of their follow-up, in some of their servicing, in their client happiness follow-up. And it had kind of put a bad taste in people's mouths. By updating their messaging to meet who they were now and who their clients were, they found almost every aspect of their business, increased in ROI while decreasing in workload. I work with an estate planning firm in Northern California. Over the last couple of years, they've been able to triple their YouTube growth to 5 figures, to bring in a significant increase in leads and conversions, and allow them to launch new services because of the streamlining and the more targeted outreach that messaging has allowed them to do. Also worked with a solo estate planning firm that the owner of the firm was kind of losing her mind with trying to keep up with everything, and putting the right messaging in place and the right content strategies and the right messaging throughout the different areas of her firm allowed her to streamline the marketing processes to what she can handle, while increasing content, because she had gotten to the point where she just wasn't putting out content because it was exhausting. And if you don't want to slam people with content, but if you're not putting out any, they're not going to know you exist. And so we were able to find messaging and strategies that worked well for her that she could keep up with. Also streamlining her sales and onboarding and increasing her leads. So these are the types of results that the right messaging can bring you. This is honestly why I'm passionate about it, because I've seen what it can do to help small businesses and small to medium firms grow without having to, have to work on it 24/7. Now, if you'd like to see if your messaging is working, I've put together a quick checklist, and you can download it for free at the QR code. Just go ahead and scan that, fill in your info, and it will come in an email to you. I also do offer one-to-one clarity calls. This does not have to be a big, VIP day sort of thing. It can be, if you would like, if you think that your messaging and your marketing and content need an overhaul, I'm happy to do VIP days, but I'm also happy to just hop on a 20 or 30-minute phone call with you and help you clarify the few things that might be missing with your messaging. And the clarity call, just the 20 to 30-minute call, is free. That's just something that I'm happy to do. And then if you decide that you would like further services, I'm happy to chat. So, but please do go ahead and grab that checklist. And it's really designed to take 5 to 10 minutes to look over your website or your LinkedIn profile, your brand messaging, and kind of how it works with different things in your firm. So like I said, it's meant to be a 5 to 10 minute thing. So it is not anything horribly in depth that you're going to have to spend the afternoon doing. So let's see. I think we're about ready for Q&A. I'm just going to leave this up just so everybody can grab the QR code if you need it. So does anybody have any other questions?
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to give you props. That was really good. And I think it was good modeling of being clear with your messaging. So thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you.
So, Jen, I have a question. When you hit that get in touch button, I just kind of did the exercise and I clicked my own get in touch button, and it goes to a really comprehensive form that is really aimed at, getting to understand a firm, where they are, to do two things: to see if they're a good fit to work with us, because we've had some times where the client just wasn't a good fit, the cost to value benefit for that person wasn't great, and it cost us greatly. So we maybe became a little bit hesitant to make it easy to sign up with us. We've got a really comprehensive form. There's like 20 to 25 questions.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then also we have another form that we used, at our recent Wealth Council, at the booth, right? We try to distill it to just 3 questions, which give us the most information. So for you, what is better? Is it a longer form that really maybe, screens for folks who really have a problem and are truly motivated, or a form that maybe, has some, filters, but is not as comprehensive?
I tend to go, if they have not already talked with you, like they haven't had a discovery call, I tend to go with the shorter one. Because if they, or for a law firm, if they haven't had an intake call, because a lot of those questions can be asked during an intake call. But what I found is the best of both worlds is to go ahead and do like just the few questions, and then follow that immediately with a short email sequence, 1 to 3 emails that gives them a better idea of what your process is, possibly your pricing ranges. If that's something that, you get a lot, is, price objections, letting them know what your different service offerings are, service tiers, but also price anchoring, showing them the value before they get on that call with you, so that it's kind of secured in their mind of, okay, I really do need this. There's stuff that I'm not seeing that they are. And even if it's a little tight right now, I need to go ahead and find that money in order to get this done. And then once they decide to sign with you, then say, okay, we're, this is the information that I need for onboarding. And that is when they can, go ahead and give you the full information. But doing the longer forms for weeding people out, again, was popular a few years ago. But we all honestly were in lockdown and had more time. And it didn't seem like so much of an ask. Whereas now, like, we're busy, things are picking up. There's a lot for people to do. And if they have to fill out a ton of questions, unless they are in that problem and solution aware, 4th stage, where they know already that you are the solution that they need, they're probably not going to fill them out, and you're likely to lose leads. If you make it a bit easier for them, but then give them that follow-up to answer objections, let them know what you'll need, what your processes are, and the investment. And then when they come to the discovery call or the intake call, they already are fairly aware of that, and they're more likely to be okay with them because they've had time to process. Does that make sense?
No, totally, Jen. I really appreciate that breakdown of how you can balance both, right? Getting some information and then maybe taking some of that during the meeting. That's very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And one of the questions may be, I'm ready to move forward, right? Send me a proposal, or I need to learn more, and I'm not ready. And then that's a different path, if you will, because
exactly.
they need something different.
Yep, and that can be taken care of through email sequences, or through like they click the I want to know more or I'm ready to book a consult, I'm ready to sign. And that will take them to the right, landing pages where they can kind of choose their own adventure, and they can control they can feel like they're controlling the journey, but in reality, you're the one controlling the journey and just making it easier for them. So, and if you'd like to get in touch, I am happy to connect. Just here's my information. So, do we have any other questions? I can't see the chat at the moment, so.
There are no questions in chat, but we have people in the room, so let's see if anyone in the room has any questions they want to share. Not so far, but thank you, Jen. This was incredibly helpful and got my brain going and thinking about how are we doing things? How can we do things better? It's always a dialogue, I think, about how much information, how many words, how do we truly highlight what's most important? Because sometimes there's just so much, right? There's so much, and we have to focus in on the 1 or 2 bullet points, and then we can provide more information, and then we can, cascade more as needed, without overwhelming them.
Exactly. And
quick question for Jen. Do you have any favorite AI tools that you use in your work? I feel like now there's a huge proliferation. I'm very kind of like technologically inclined, and I'm drowning. So I'm like, are there things that have cut through the noise for you that help you with doing this work of copywriting that are accustomed to this maybe field?
Yeah, I kind of go old school with AI, and I use ChatGPT, but I develop custom GPTs that will help me with specific parts of the process. Like will take in huge amounts of information and then distill it down so that I can pick and choose what I want. I also I do develop custom GPTs for each of my clients, and what I use those for is brainstorming. How copywriting used to work, copywriters would hire a junior copywriter who would do kind of the scut work, to put it lightly, but they would do like the initial research, kind of putting together, like different angles and things like that, and then give that to the senior copywriter. So I use ChatGPT to help me do that now. And it's my junior copywriter for $20 a month. But what it will do is it gives me all of the different options that, I would want to work with so that I can pick out the best ones and then develop those further on my own. For like images and video, I like Free Pick and Kling. And Kapwing for video editing, because just super easy to use.
Eli loves Kapwing.
Yep.
Such a cool tool.
Super easy to use, and like you don't have to be a professional videographer to figure out to get really great results out of it. And it works faster than everything else.
It really does. Thank you for sharing that.
So yeah, and what I would recommend with AI is understand that it does so much more than content. If you're going to use it at all for content, please use it for ideation and just getting your brain going, brainstorming. Please don't use it as the final product. Even when you have it refined down into custom GPTs, it will still not give you market ready information, but it will help you with the brainstorming and getting your juices flowing so that you can use that to bounce off of instead of staring at a blank page hoping something will appear. But if there are especially administrative things that just take up too much time in your day, think of the things throughout your day that you just really would rather not have to do. And those are the things that AI is really good at helping you streamline.
Um, well, Jen, thank you so much. That was so much good information. I have some actionable next
Welcome.
steps. I'm actually going to go in there and swap out that long form with a or shorter form. And
Thank you,
see.
Jen, for that one.
You're welcome.
And I hope that Julie, you got some nice tips to help you with your positioning. It's the stuff that's in front of
Yeah.
us sometimes is the hardest kind of to fix because someone said that you have the curse of knowledge, you know too much about what you do.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You forget about
Yeah.
all the new people.
Yeah. One thing that I found is that it is so important to meet people where they are, especially in areas like law, finance, where so many details about what you do and what your clients have, their understanding of your profession is like kindergarten level. They don't know 95% of what you do. And so when you can boil it down into the things that are really valuable to them, you can connect with them in whole new ways.
Excellent. Well, with that, we're going to go ahead and close out our Trusted Advisor Speaker Series for today with Jen Duncan. We're very excited to bring a special speaker next month. Maybe Stephanie, you could mention a bit about our speaker next month.
Absolutely. So Jada is I would say a business coach, helping people think about how to do business and grow their business in a different way, coming from the heart and not just the head. And how do we have that collaborative kind of growth mindset um, while doing things differently? And I got to do a workshop with her I think like 4 months ago, and she's building this community of people who are really thinking about how you can approach different business in a different way. And so I'm excited to have her come and talk with us and learn some more because we have been in a kind of male-dominated, winner takes all kind of mentality, but do we need to do that in that way? So she's really inspiring. So I'm excited to have her come.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Well, everyone, we are looking forward to seeing you next month. And for other series, we have at least one event every single month. Might be moving into 2 events a month. So if you'd like to speak to advisors, our client base and circles of influence, please reach out to us. We will be very happy to consider you for a speaking opportunity. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week, and we look forward to connecting with you soon, in person, remotely, all the ways.
Thank you for watching the Best Notary Speaker Series. Come join us on Zoom every Wednesday of the month at noon Pacific and 3 p.m. Eastern. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get notified when new episodes are released. This speaker series is sponsored by The Best Notary, your trusted document concierge from Maui to Maine.